Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Upadeśāmṛtam class, Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam or Nectar of Instruction. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share the screen. Second. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuthapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Okay, so I will share the slides. Where is that? This one. Yeah. So can you all see this Upadeśāmṛtam slides? Yes? No? Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So we are in our discussion of Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. And the English translations and purports have been given by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in his Nectar of Instruction. Also, as I have mentioned before, we are deriving a lot of the content from the in-depth classes by Shriman Hariparshad Prabhuji. So I'm eternally grateful that he is doing these classes, taking us very, very deeply into Upadeśāmṛtam. So 90% of the content is from his classes. And then anything that is he has also derived it from Srila Prabhupada's purports, but any other points from Srila Prabhupada's purports that I found a little bit more significant, I added them to supplement the material. Prabhuji will be coming here in Portland in April, and he will be bringing his first volume of Sri Bhakti Rasayanam, Hindi translations, commentaries, and mainly unpacking all the very, very wonderful verses with so many deep realizations of Sri Hari Suri Ji, and decoding them, decoding the hidden meanings of the pastimes of Lord Krishna, his Vraja pastimes in the Dasham Skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. So with this introduction, we will start with today's topics. So before we start today's topics, as usual, with our practice, we will recite the first 3 verses of Śrī Upadeśāmṛtam. So we will do it in lead follow format. And please try to recite back from your memory, not by looking. But if you don't remember, that is totally fine. You can look. Hopefully by end of the series, you will have memorized. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam.
Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam.
Bhavegam udaropastha vegam.
Vivavegam udaropastha vegam.
Tan vegan yo vishaheta dhiraha.
Etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira.
Sarvamapi mam prithivim sashishyat.
Sarvamapi mam prithivim sashishyat.
Atyahara prayashascha. Jalpo niyamāgrahah.
Prajalpo niyamāgrahah.
Sanghascha laulyam cha.
Jana-sangha.
Bhaktir vinashyati. Utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. Karma pravartanat. Satyagat sato vritte. Prasidhyati. Right. So those were our first 3 verses. So we will resume today's topic. So last week we started verse number 2. The goal is today to complete verse number 2. So we covered. So what is verse number 2? How it starts? Atyahara prayashascha. So we covered those 2 items, atyahara and prayasa. My goal was to cover prajalpo niyamāgrahah. So goal was to cover prajalpa as well, but that we will cover today. Prajalpo niyamāgrahah. So we'll cover niyamāgrahah. And then jana-sanghascha laulyam cha. So jana-sangha and laulyam. So we'll cover prajalpa, niyamāgrahah, jana-sangha and laulyam. So 4 items today we will plan to cover. And the point is that these 4 items, indulgence or overindulgence in these 4 items causes bhakti to be damaged or destroyed. So link to today's topic. So prajalpa. So what is prajalpa? Prajalpa is, pra means excess and jalpa means useless talks or fruitless talks. So excessive fruitless talks, that is the meaning of prajalpa. Okay, it has many aspects to it, which we will cover, but that is the essential meaning. Then I don't want to, since time is short, I don't want to go into the details. There are various types of conversations. Samvada, vada. I did not write one more, which is called vivada, then jalpa, and then vitanda. So samvada is the best type of conversation between 2 individuals. Okay, where one individual is asking questions in a humble and inquisitive manner, like Krishna Arjuna samvada or Krishna Uddhava samvada. So where one is taking the position of a student, putting the other person on a higher stand and asking him like to clarify with complete openness of mind. So last Sunday, I gave a Srimad Bhagavatam class, online Srimad Bhagavatam class in the temple. There I covered this topic in detail: samvada, vada, vivada, jalpa, and vitanda. So we will not go into all the details. That's why I have grayed it out. But jalpa basically means useless kind of an argument. Typically, it is in an argumentative mode. You try to argue, you try to defend your position, and it is more like a match as to who comes out to be the winner. So like, to prove your superiority. Okay. And in this case, even lies or unfair means are also okay. You can lie, you can manipulate, you can, trick the other person into, saying things. You don't say the full truth, you say the half truth, and even lies as well. Whatever, everything goes more or less in jalpa. And so basically all kind of talk that is really not useful for any means. It only feeds one's ahankar, but doesn't do anything. The goal is to not establish the truth. The goal is not to learn. The goal is to not find out the truth or what is beneficial for me, what is beneficial for the other person. Nothing. That is not the goal. The goal is to win. If you're curious, what is below it? This seems pretty low already. What is left? So vitanda is the lowest level. Vitanda means basically that you also try to destroy the other person's character. Okay. So it is a character assassination of the other person. Not only you defeat his arguments, but you try to crush him. And also you do not have a point of view. You are just interested in crushing him. You don't have anything valuable to offer. Whatever he says, it is wrong. Just because it came out of your mouth, it is wrong. And your job is to accomplish that goal, to prove that his words are wrong, he is wrong. So that is vitanda. Anyway, so we are in discussion of prajalpa, which means excessive, fruitless talks. So what else is there, or what is let's unpack the meaning of prajalpa. So the first thing is that it is audible, not mind. So in your mind, if you are thinking bad about someone, that's not a good thing. Okay. But that is not included in prajalpa. Prajalpa has to be audible. You have to say something to someone. So it is that's why I have put at the top here, with others. Okay. So we still do not have a mechanism of communication with others where we don't talk. Okay. Email also counts as talking, by the way. So, even though you don't talk from your mouth, from your vocal cords, you talk through your fingers. But still, any audible talking to others. And usually it is gossip, criticism, etc., and in a verbose manner. And in a verbose manner means one of the key things that you will see. So this one line is trying to capture the whole essence. There are more bullets that I will show. In a verbose manner means you keep on doing that. It's not to just say that this happened, to state the facts. For that, saying it once is enough. But you keep harping upon it, and also it means that you take enjoyment in it. There is relishment in it. So it is very, pleasing to our ahankar, to our mind, and you feel very tagla or whatever, very happy doing that. So that is the essence of prajalpa. So let us unpack this little bit more. So useless village talk, gramya katha, that wastes one's time. Kala haranakari. So kala harana, it is just a sheer waste of time. Useless talk is also in the category of prajalpa. You may not be criticizing someone or gossiping about someone, but just useless talk. This happened, that happened. The government should do this, politics, this, that, all those things. Now, sometimes it is unavoidable. You have to do when you meet somebody for 2 minutes in the market, you are, or you just, bump into each other. It is not possible to do a very in-depth heart-to-heart talk. You just say weather is nice or this or that. So that is all fine, but that is not, technically it is not prajalpa, because you are not taking pleasure in it. You are not seeking it. So sometimes it is unavoidable. That's okay. One should not take it to excessive extremes that we will talk about in niyamāgrahah. But one should not make it a habit. One should not look for it. Oh, today I didn't find somebody to do, just some casual talk. I'm very bored. I need to call up someone and then, 1 hour phone call and just do prajalpa. So one should not take pleasure in it, seek it, initiate it. But whenever it is unavoidable, it is fine. Okay. So includes gossip about other people, whose, wife is, having affair with whose husband, or whose, child is doing this, or all kinds of, nonsense gossip. We stand in the Fred Meyer checkout line. There are all these tabloids and all kinds of news are there. Obama has cancer. I saw this when he got elected in 2008. And today is 15 years have gone. He's still alive. So they published some nonsense, just some total gossip. Okay. Now, another point is finding fault in others. So this is the criticism of others or finding fault. And this is a very, very big problem in people. We always, or many people, have a tendency to find fault in others, and that is a very serious kind of prajalpa. And even when there is no fault. So I have a slide, couple of slides later, where I show, or Hariparshad Prabhu has shown, which I have copied, how easy it is that to find a fault even in the most gentle person, in the most good quality person with good qualities, also one can find fault. But there is no verse which shows how easy it is to find good qualities in a bad person. That is very, very hard. Okay, so in every person you can find some good qualities. There is this story where Yudhishthir Maharaj and Duryodhana were sent to find one good person with good qualities and one person with bad qualities. Okay, both returned empty-handed. They spent many days touring the kingdom. Both returned empty-handed. So first Bhishma Pitamaha asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, what happened? You didn't bring anyone. He said, first of all, I didn't find anyone with bad qualities. So I couldn't bring. And I found that everyone had good qualities. So I couldn't bring everyone with me. You asked to bring one person. So I, couldn't bring one person because everybody I saw had good qualities. Duryodhana reported the exact opposite. He said, I could not find anyone with good qualities. Everybody had bad qualities. And so I couldn't bring everyone, and I couldn't bring one person with good qualities. So that is the situation. That's the kind of difference that exists between Duryodhana and Yudhishthir Maharaj. So it's very, very easy to find fault in others, but that is our fault. This is, for some people, this is their only claim to fame. They know all the bad qualities of everyone. And if you are one who wants to know the bad qualities of others, you associate with such people. We will talk about that in jana-sangha. Then there are other points like speaking false things, and more than that, denying it, then not accepting. If you say a lie, or by mistake, if you say a lie, you acknowledge it, you own up and you apologize, but then you deny. So all these are in category of prajalpa. Excessive, if you are going to, your phone to get some basic news, that's okay. But excessive indulgence in news and sports and politics and Twitter and Facebook and this and that, all of that counts as prajalpa. Now, coming to a little bit more of a devotional standpoint, any statement pertaining to sense gratification made by non-devotees. So as devotees, we have to be very, very careful whom we associate with, what kind of talks we do. So any statements pertaining to sense gratification made by non-devotees. Now, later on, I will point out that we should always also look out about such conversations with devotees. So sometimes even that happens, and that also we should try to look out for. And then impersonalist Shastra, fruitive activities, karma kanda, which is all part of the Vedas, but those also are described as prajalpa by our acharyas who are in our Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, because we completely reject impersonalism and fruitive activities. So any overindulgence in those and taking taste, the most important point is taking taste in those. Many times discussing Shastra. Okay, so what about discussing Shastra? That is a good thing, but discussing Shastra in the wrong way for our own sense gratification. Trying to use Shastra to say, see, this is written in Shastra. So many people say, oh, karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That is the most important instruction of Bhagavad Gita. Do your duty. And then they use that to justify doing that. And saying where in Bhagavad Gita it doesn't say talking about Krishna. So they have probably just stopped at chapter 2, or they haven't even read chapter 2 fully. So discussing Shastra in the wrong way or for our own, any kind of sense gratification is also prajalpa. Now, the worst kind of prajalpa is sadhu ninda. So we talked about criticizing or finding fault with others. Even in that bucket of finding fault with others, finding fault in sadhus, in devotees of the Lord, that is very, very serious offense. It is the number one offense. Sadhu ninda is the number one offense against the holy name. So, and within the, within that, critiquing the character of a sadhu. Sometimes there may be sadhus of other sampradayas, and we can say that their philosophy doesn't match the philosophy of our acharyas. So there may be some kind of sampradaya bhed. That is okay, but we should have utmost respect for the personalities, for the persons. So never attack the character or the personality of the sadhus. And because it destroys our bhakti. Our bhakti is at stake in this matter. Now, sometimes our job may require some prajalpa. Any job that requires interaction with worldly people, sales and marketing, you have to talk to people. So you have to, you have to be nice, polite. You cannot, go with a tilak and kanthi mala and, say, I have come to sell the product. I will only talk about the product. I won't greet you. I won't talk about the weather. I won't ask you how you are doing. All those things. If last week he canceled a meeting because he was sick, he said, I am canceling the meeting, I was sick. Next time you meet him, you don't even ask, how are you doing? Are you feeling better? So all that is not appropriate. But the problem is when one starts taking rasa or pleasure or taste in such talks. That is the problem. Doing it as a matter of etiquette or as a matter of just person to person basic concern, that is okay. But one should not take pleasure in such talks. Okay. So how to identify prajalpa? There are 3 very nice points given by Hariparshad Prabhu from the Shastras, A, B, C. So whenever these 3 points are present, we must identify that we are doing prajalpa. Point number 1, it has some negativity. Okay. And second point is that it wastes time. Okay. So we can find out negative things which are useful for us, but we can keep it to ourselves. We don't have to make a public advertisement about it. And that is the third point. We take pleasure in it. We take some rasa from it. We get some enjoyment, some kind of sense of superiority some kind of winning by, you are not doing anything great. So your line is not very long, but how you can make your line long? By showing that the other line is short, right? So you are not doing anything meaningful or, commendable, but if you pull down the other person, you become a little bit better. To show the other person's line to be short, or to show your line is long, you make the other person's line short. So that is what is prajalpa. Okay. So there is this very nice verse in fault finding to show the other person's line to be short. Very, very nice verse. So I will just try to recite it. This is in the meter of Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Shardula Vikriditam. So, Jadyam Hrimati Ganyate Vrataruchau Dambha Shuchau Kaitavam Shure Nirgrihanata Munay Vimatita Dainyam Priyalapini Tejasvinyavalit Tata Mukharata Vaktarya Shakti Sthire Tatko Nama Guno Bhavet Sagunina Yo Durjanair Nankita. So the translation is very nice. I didn't sing it very properly, but the translation is beautiful. This is from Niti Shataka of Śrī Bharthari. And the translation is, please pay attention on the translation. Some people have a way of finding faults in everyone. And please see all the categories. They perceive gentle behavior as weakness of character. They perceive a strict follower of rituals, vows as a proud pretender. They perceive an honest person as a hypocrite. A brave person as cruel, an introvert as a fool, a sweet talker as a bootlicker, an influential person as haughty, an extrovert person as overly talkative, and a peaceful sage as incompetent of material progress. So they have a very, nice way of just turning it 180 degree. However nice you be, you can be portrayed in a negative light. Name one good quality that these rascals have not maligned with their fault finding. So these, tat ko nama guno bhavet saguninam. Name one guna, yo durjanair na ankita. These durjanas have not, left or will not leave. Please give me one such good quality which has, which they cannot turn upside down. So fault finding is so easy, and some people can find fault even in a perfect person. So that is the nature, and we should see when we are trying to find, but when we are doing it, when we are trying to find the fault in somebody, it seems very genuine. So the learning from this is that if we are trying to find a fault, we should consider the alternative. What could it be otherwise? Give the other person benefit of doubt. However obvious it may be, give him the benefit of doubt. Try to at least consider in an imaginary situation, at least imagine what may be the good side of this, what I am not seeing. And then try to reconcile, try to match it with some examples or some past instances, etc., etc. Try to see the good thing and see if it matches. Sometimes it may be that genuinely that person is having the bad quality, but most of the time it is our failure to see that person is being a good person, and we are only seeing the negative side. Okay, so we have to be careful. The more we practice seeing the good side of others, the better we will become for our own bhakti. So again, this is prajalpa, and the more we reduce prajalpa, of which fault finding is a very big part, and this will become actually one of the criteria in verse number 5, nindadi shunyam. So ninda of other people is one of the big items within prajalpa. Among all the other things that we discussed, gossiping and other things, ninda is a very big aspect, and especially sadhu ninda, but ninda of anyone. So the more we practice, the better our bhakti will be protected. Okay. So another point, now this is a sort of a little bit of a tricky point. Many of us have been in this situation, is pointing out, and I want to say obvious faults in a Vaishnava. Obvious faults, or very undeniable, very straightforward faults in a Vaishnava. What about that? Now you see a Vaishnava, you see a person, at least he is a Vaishnava, or he wants to be called as a Vaishnava. He puts on tilak, regularly comes to temple, is doing, chanting, japa, he's, doing shravanam, kirtanam, he's doing some of the limbs of bhakti very nicely. But then you see him one day in a bar drinking alcohol, or in the nightclub, whatever, dancing with, whatever, women, whatever. Now, you cannot put any other, I don't see how you can put any other good explanation to that. Maybe I used to watch a lot of spy movies. So maybe, somebody might have kidnapped his child and said, you go and do this so that you will be whatever. That's the only possible explanation, force, but otherwise, it's pretty obvious that he's doing really bad thing. So should you point out the fault or not? Let's say it is not that. None of those movie scenarios are not there.
We should not point out.
We should kindly point it out.
You should point it out. Also, the question
Kindly.
is kindly point it out. Okay. The next question is also to whom? Go ahead.
So if it is constructive, if it is going to help him in the path, you should point it out, because everything else was about being negative, right? If it's positive, you can, I think you can.
Okay, very nice. Yes.
Son, the person concerned, not in the mass, but in alone, when he is alone.
Okay, very nice points. Very nice points. Let me change the question a little bit. How should you first see it in your mind? When I say point out the fault, it kind of came across, and I did mention to whom, but that is to someone else or to himself. But first of all, how should you view the situation in your own mind? Point it out. How should you view the situation or point it out to yourself? What's going on? You see this situation and you say, what? And what meaning do you make of it first?
We should pity that person, first of all.
Pity that person. Okay. Then I see.
The main thing is that one should consider himself as how he became like that. That is a general perception which comes in the mind. How a person can be like that? How he is doing such a wrong thing?
Okay, very nice. Now
Yes,
let me. Okay. Yes, Mataji, in the room. 1 second.
It's a slippery slope.
So Mataji is saying before helping others, we should help ourselves. Otherwise, beginning to point out their fault, or at least even seeing fault in them, because I said in your own mind, right now you're not talking to anyone. In my question, that was the question. How do you see it in your own mind? So it's a slippery slope. We should mend ourselves before we mend others. And then Sai Prabhu is saying on the chat here that if we speak, we should speak out of love and concern, something that uplifts the other person, and not to kind of, put them on the spot in a bad light. So that is the essence of what he's saying. Okay, then I will tell you one thing. So those who are a little bit more, learned in the Shastras, I will point out some things, some of the misused aspects. So one of the misused, is it sadhu ninda? Oh, he's a nice devotee. He is doing very nice bhakti. I see him all the time in the temple. And it's not just, it's not pretend. He's sincerely doing that. So am I committing sadhu ninda? Another very, very misused verse is, Yara chitte Krishna prema karaye udaya, tara vakya kriya mudra vigneha na bujhiya. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What it means is that for a devotee, we should never try to judge. What? Tara vakya, his words, kriya, his activities, mudra means his, various symptoms, various expressions. Vigneha na bhujya. We cannot understand na bhujya. The depth or the real meaning behind his activity, his words are sometimes hard to understand. A very classic example that is given is that of, I always forget the name of the devotee. He became the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit. Maybe somebody on the call knows. No. He heard the Srimad Bhagavatam verse. First, he was like a king, like sitting on a throne with lot of, jewelry and very nice clothes. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, let me see if somebody who replied on the chat. Pundarika Vidyanidhi.
Prabhuji, Madhavendra Puri ji.
No. Pundarika Vidyanidhi. And then Gadadhar Pandit had gone there along with, I think, Murari Gupta, who is another associate of Lord Chaitanya. And Murari Gupta had taken Gadadhar Pandit to show him a very great devotee of the Lord. And there he saw this, very opulent man with all kind of jewelry and perfume. And he was looking at a dance performance. What's going on? I thought I came here to see a devotee of the Lord. And then somebody sang a Srimad Bhagavatam verse. And as soon as the Bhagavatam verse went into the ears of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he fell from his chair and he ripped out he went into an ecstasy, ripped out all his jewelry and necklace and started rolling on the floor out of ecstasy. And then Gadadhar Pandit realized, oh my God, he's truly a great devotee. One should not judge a devotee by his external appearance. So in that sense, this verse applies very clearly that you should not judge he was watching a dance. Okay. You don't know whether he is watching it out of attachment. Is he deriving rasa from it? Or is he just watching it because it's happening and he happens to be there? Okay. So this is another point. So you should never judge a devotee. Another verse which is very, very misused is the Bhagavad Gita verse. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag. Sadhur eva samantavya samyag vyavasthito hi saha. That even if a person does a very abominable activity, sudracharo, sadhur eva samantavya, you should still consider him to be a sadhu, because he is properly situated. Samyak vyavasthito hi saha. Okay. So how do we apply this? Now you see this person who is a very nice devotee, or he's, everybody says he's a very good devotee, and you see him in a bar or a nightclub. Now, how do you say? Now, what do you say? How do you think about him? So that is a question. I don't want to deliberate on this too long. We have too many slides to cover. So I will move along. Okay. So many of you pointed out, from our standpoint, it is not our duty to judge them. We have not been appointed as their authorities or their teachers. So I don't want to switch screens and spend time, but you can look at Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, 15th verse purport. Srila Prabhupada says that we should not say anything bad or any kind of these kind of criticism or anything like that to anyone unless they are one's student. If they have taken the position of your student, which means you have been appointed as their authority or a teacher, then you can say, okay, we should leave it to their spiritual or managerial authorities. Or if we strongly feel about it, we can report it to those authorities. Also, politely, if you have, now I have not mentioned it in the bullets here, but many of you said this, if you have a personal relationship with them, in private, in very nice, sweet, uplifting manner, you can mention it to them also or inquire what happened, but only if you have a relationship like that, otherwise not. And if you see that that is really a problem, you can report it or bring it up, not report as a complaint, but bring it up. This is what happened. I am letting you know because you are their authority, and we don't want this to happen for their own benefit, that person's benefit, and in large for the society. If other people also see this tomorrow, like I'm giving classes here and now tomorrow you see me in a nightclub, it's not good. You should report it. And because it's not a good thing that I'm sitting here and talking these big things. It's not good for the society if it is coming from the mouth of a ruffian. So the authorities will do whatever needs to be done. They will investigate and they will see what was the reason. So we are not. Now, another very important point here, that's why I have colored these points in blue. So we misuse this verse. The misuse occurs when we say, oh, tara vakya kriya mudra vigneha na bujhiya. For who? For which person should we not do this? Yara chitte Krishna prema karaya udaya. Yara chitte, in whose heart Krishna prema has blossomed, udaya. In such a person, so that is a quality, that is the eligibility, or that is the criteria or the qualification. Then you should not judge about their vakya, karya, and mudra. Now, the question should be asked is, in his heart, has Krishna blossomed? Has Krishna prema? Or bhajate mam ananya bhag. Apichetsu duracharo is fine. But is he doing bhajate mam ananya bhag? Is he doing ananya bhajan? Mam, Krishna is speaking this in Bhagavad Gita. So is he doing ananya Krishna bhajan? So that is a very big qualification. For such people, absolutely correct. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi fits in that category or in that qualification 100%. Okay. But at the same time, how do you know? How do I know? We are not the judge of their ananya bhajan. That's what I'm saying. Or if their Krishna prema udaya has occurred in their chitta. How do you know? Will you look at my chitta? I'm not Hanumanji who will open up my heart and show Sri Ram inside. So you don't know. So we are not the judge of anyone's ananya bhajan. We don't have a Giger counter meter. Bring it near me and it will tell me what is the 1 to 10 scale of my Krishna bhajan. So we are not the judge, and neither we should pretend to be the judge. We should focus on our own personal bhajan instead of trying to be the sewer cleaner. Don't try to clean the sewer. Leave it to the authorities to do that. However, if a criminal activity is occurring, and that may be possible, then definitely one must report to their authorities as well as law enforcement. Otherwise, it makes you a complicit in the crime. So must follow the law of the land. So that is an exception or a sort of a fine print. All right. So these are the points to be made about prajalpa. Okay. Yes, you had a question, Gopal?
My question got answered by
Yeah.
I was just saying that could you, like, is it bad to then report it to their guru?
Yeah, usually that's why I say hold on to the question. Usually it gets answered. All right. So what is there after prajalpa? Once again, let us recite all together. Atyaharaha prayashascha prajalpo niyamāgrahah. So next is niyamāgrahah. Okay. Jana-sanghascha laulyam cha shadbhir bhakti prasiddhyati vinishyati. Very nice. So next is niyamāgrahah, very important point. And this is another lecture which I specifically recommend you to listen directly, the source lecture by Hariparshad Prabhu. Don't miss that. Of course, all the lectures are great, but these are just like, what do you call those? Masterpiece performance kind of.
Pearls.
Huh?
Pearls. Pearls, I said.
Eh?
Pearl. Pearl. Pearl.
Yes, yes. All right. So what is niyamāgrahah? Neglecting or forcing rules. Now they are opposite things, right? Neglect the rules or force the rules. Seems opposite. So that is the meaning. Niyamāgrahah, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Niyama or agraha. When you join it, it becomes niyamāgrahah because niyama, agraha, two A's join and become A. So that is also niyamāgrahah. It is niyama agraha. Agraha means neglecting the rules. That is why this one asterisk and then one asterisk. So neglecting the rules means niyama agraha, or niyama agraha means forcing the rules too much. Okay, so agraha, that also becomes niyamāgrahah. Niyama plus a. So a with the a also becomes a with another a also becomes a. So both are niyamāgrahah. What does it mean? So neglecting the rules, we all understand little bit, right? We are all taught from childhood, you must follow the rules, correct? Don't walk when it is the stop sign, and follow when it is green. All the rules, you must follow the rules. But forcing the rules means what? In one sentence, if I have to tell you what it means, forcing the rules means that trying to do excessively the rule part, okay? Forgetting the spirit of the rule. There is this term called the letter of the law and spirit of the law, correct? So you just focus too much on the letter of the law and you forget the spirit. You go too much by the book. All right. There's another famous quotation I have been exposed to when my father used to say, operation successful, patient died. All right. Which means the doctor was too much by the book. He opens the book and he's doing surgery. Oh, in the book it is written like this, and I'm doing exactly the book. I'm following the letter of the book. And there the patient is flatlining. At that point, you must, throw the book in the trash can and, do whatever you can to save the patient. The spirit of the operation, the purpose of the operation is to save the patient, not to get a checkbox that I followed all the rules in the textbook. Okay. So the spirit is the most important. And then, yes, you can follow the letter as closely as possible, but we must follow the spirit. Between letter and spirit, which is more important? Spirit of the law. That is the essential meaning of forcing the rules excessively, which is not good for bhakti. Bhaktir vinashyati. So this excessive focus on the letter of the law at the cost of the spirit of the law, you following, is niyamāgrahah. And neglecting the rules is obviously niyamāgrahah. Okay. Today is Ekadashi, let us say, and you are, busy watching a movie and not thinking about Krishna at all. And, Ekadashi is supposed to be like, in our Shastra, it is mentioned that is the rule. So that is neglecting the rules is also niyamāgrahah. That is straightforward. But on Ekadashi, the purpose is to remember Krishna, so that, and therefore you should not, keep the, I think we mentioned, keep the stove cool. Eat fruits, nuts, or something simple. But you went excessively on the letter of the law. You cooked 20 things. Only thing that was that you didn't use grains and beans. And you cooked all kinds of other things with non-grain beans, and you spent all the time in cooking, not remembering Krishna. That is another kind of niyamāgrahah. All right. So then you followed the letter, operation successful, patient died. Patient died means Krishna Smaran died. The purpose was to do Krishna Smarana, which didn't happen. But yes, you didn't use big grains and beans. Good job. So that is niyamāgrahah in a nutshell. All right. So we will now go into that is the sort of the main point. Now we will quickly go through some of the details or the bullets. So this one, forcing the rules, which means showing extreme eagerness to follow the mundane rules, the letter of the law. Showing extreme eagerness, like patient is flatlining, but I'm so eager to follow the textbook, how to do the surgery, not focusing on the fact that the patient is flatlining. So, and here we are talking about bhaktir vinashyati. So everything is in the context of bhakti. So rules not related to bhakti. So, which means following some impersonal rules, fruitive rules, and also following worldly rules for material sense gratification. Too much excessive worldly rules for sense gratification. Oh, I have, promotion from grade 7 to grade 8. Oh, now 8 achieved, done. 9. Okay, 9, grade 9 achieved. Now grade 10. Oh, 10 achieved. Now grade 11. By the time you retire, the whole career is all about +1, grade +1. How to go into grade +1. That is the whole focus of the career. So immediate sense gratification. Or whimsical rules, calling it as spontaneous bhakti. There is something called spontaneous bhakti or raga bhakti, which comes at a very high stage, but sometimes people take on all kinds of rules and call it as spontaneous bhakti, or this is my heart is saying this. Or sometimes I have heard this from some people saying, oh, I'm doing my japa in my heart all day. I'm not only doing 16 rounds, I don't even know how many rounds I'm doing. 100 rounds maybe I'm doing, because all the time I'm doing in my heart only. So 100 is greater than 16, isn't it? If it takes 2 hours to do 16 rounds, then in 16 hours, how many you can do? Math question. 2 hours, you can do 16. So in 16 hours, you can do 8 times more, right? So 8 times 16 is how much? That much you can tell.
1,200 times.
Not that much. 128. Okay. So 128 rounds. In my heart, I am doing that is niyamāgrahah. That is trying to say that kindly.
Raise your hand and write. What is it here?
So whimsical rules beyond the rules of bhakti. Okay, so all these count as niyamāgrahah. And finally, or not finally, the other side, which is to not accept the rules of bhakti. This is the neglecting of the rules, and usually it is due to lack of interest or lack of, we can say, lack of shraddha, lack of determination, firmness, or faith, or motivation. Or you are in bhakti because, sometimes it is due to many reasons. It looks cool. Oh, I don't know. For some, there are so many other things you can do to look cool. But, or okay, maybe because all your previous friends are now in this, so you're kind of, in there. But so many reasons for not following the rules properly. So non-acceptance of rules, this is the neglecting part. So the previous bullet was the forcing the rules or some different kind of rules. And this is about not following the rules. A third category, so it is about not just neglecting and forcing. It's kind of there in the middle, is inconsistency. Inconsistency in following the rules and regulations. Okay. So like when you feel like, so you can see some numbers there. Do you see yourself in that number? What is that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
This is your daily
Japa.
japa count.
Yeah.
So sometimes, and then when you don't do any japa 3 days in a row, then you say, today I will do 32. So trying to, like that. So inconsistency in following the rules and regulations also is niyamāgrahah, which follows, which is part of the neglecting also. It's included, but I just wanted to bring it out as a separate focus point. So again, I won't go into the specific verses, but Sri Rupa Goswami mentions in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that bhakti devoid of rules is simply a utpāta. Utpāta means a disturbance or a distraction, not only for yourself, but for others who are observing your negligence. So rules are important in bhakti. Some people say, oh, I'm doing bhakti, no rules. Now this is true, bhakti, this is the next bullet. Flexibility exists in bhakti. That is the nice part about bhakti. If you go in jnana or dhyana or nishka, there's so many very strict rules. You cannot, there's no room, no wiggle room in other processes of spiritual progress. Bhakti gives lot of leeway, lot of flexibility, but still there are certain rules. It's not rule free. Okay. So if you have to make spiritual progress, then you must do some Bhagavad Shravan. That is a rule. You cannot say I'm doing, if you are little bit intelligent, at least even if you are illiterate person can still understand some language, isn't it? Even if he didn't go to school, he can make some, so he can sit in some simple class at least. That is also Bhagavad Shravan. You don't have to read the Sanskrit from a book, but you can at least sit in a class and do some Bhagavad Shravan. Okay, so some rules and regulations do exist and are required in bhakti. It is not completely rule free, though definitely compared to the other processes, there is far more flexibility, there is far more leeway. And coming to the point, all these rules, you can see how much the rules can be bent on the flexibility point. What is the main rule of bhakti? The main rule of bhakti, what it is? Wonderful. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the main rule. So this is the spirit of all rules or laws of bhakti. Every other rule can be bent, okay, around this rule. So what is this? This is very, very important verse. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is mentioned, Rupa Goswami mentions, Smartavyah satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedhasyur etayor eva kinkara. So, Smartavya satatam Vishnu. Smartavya means to remember. And when to remember? On Ekadashi day? Satatam, always. Who to remember? Vishnu, Krishna, same. Okay. Vismartavyo na jatuchit. And never forget Krishna. Sarve vidhi nishedhasyur. All the other visis are subservient. Nishedhasur. So they are, every other vidhi is subservient, is more in the category of letter of the law. This is the spirit of the law. Okay. Etayor eva kinkara. So they can be bent, they can be changed or amended, modified, etc., etc. Around these two are the essential principles. Kinkara means they are the servant. So all other vidhi and nishedha. Vidhi means rule, nishedha means regulation, don'ts. Rules, do's and don'ts can be bent or are subservient to these two primary rules, which is what Vishnu should always be remembered favorably and never to be forgotten. Similar to anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. Okay, so all other rules bend around these two rules. Okay, so this is the spirit of the law. Now, what you can do is to adjust the others around your taste or around your capacity. So, some more points on niyamāgrahah. So, this is one point which is said, adhikasya adhikam phalam. What does it mean? Do more to get more, isn't it? It's like a hourly wage kind of thing, hourly worker. More hours you work, more you will make. That doesn't work in bhakti. That's why I have crossed it out. So it is not a proper understanding. It is not adhikasya adhikam phalam, that do more and you will get more. So, 16 rounds only you are doing. Yeah, your Guru Maharaj told 16, but if you do 32, you will get double bhakti. That is not correct. So, what the counter rule is, ati sarvatra varjayet, which means that one should avoid excess of both sides. Bhakti provides the best balance between, the jnana, dhyana processes are, too much rules, and materialistic life is rule free. Now, of course, in materialistic life also there are rules, but we can say animal life, rule free, no rules. So bhakti is neither on this side, neither on this side. It is the perfect for all of us because there is flexibility. We are all different people and we can adapt bhakti in our life according to our capacity. That is the beauty of bhakti. And still it produces the highest result. There is no compromise on the result. That is why that adhikasya adhikam phalam does not apply. That you have to do more to get more. Just by doing bhakti, you will get the maximum or the highest result. Okay. And that is why, like I mentioned last time, it is not only important to know what is in the 64 limbs of bhakti, more importantly, it is to know what is not in that. To realize. So renunciation, for example, is not one of the 64 limbs of bhakti. Nowhere. Otherwise, Śrī Rupa Gosvami would have mentioned renunciation. Renunciation is not a limb of bhakti. How surprising. I was surprised when I heard this in the class of Hariparshad Prabhu. I was like, yeah, really, I have read the 64 limbs, but you have to do that analysis. Oh, 64 are here. Which ones did I think should have been here but are not here? And renunciation is not one of it. Okay. So you are not expected to give up your family, your other things, but use it in Krishna's service. Attach your mind to Krishna. Don't be attached to these worldly things, but you don't have to detach yourself, renounce all these things. So that's why, some dharma shastras may say that renunciation is important, but bhakti shastra is important, is supersedes dharma shastra. Okay. And another point, so just some key points quickly I will mention and move on. Never discuss your practices, the rules which you are following. So yes, you must follow certain rules because we are part of ISKCON. We follow certain rules, 16 rounds of chanting, 4 regulative principles and all. Like Gaudiya Math, for example, or Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj used to follow 64 rounds earlier. Then Srila Prabhupada brought it down. Okay, he is the Acharya. He modified the rule. And that is the rule we are following. But there could be other rules which our Guru Janas, our Diksha Guru, our Shiksha Guru may have given us. No need to discuss that openly with others. Maybe let's say you have Radha Krishna deity. This happened in our case. Somehow or the other, we got Radha Krishna deities in our house. And we got, some people said, oh, you have Radha, oh my God, very, you're in trouble. You will now get a lot of offense because, Radha Krishna deity is very... So we contacted our Guru Maharaj. He gave us very nice instructions. He put us under the guidance of a very nice senior devotee, Kusumika Mataji, who very lovingly guided us. And by Krishna's mercy, he is allowing us to serve him. I don't know very nicely or not, but we are serving him, serving them. the divine couple. So, I mean, of course, the deities were in our home and people used to visit our home, so they would see. And that is why we got into this quote unquote trouble that, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. So never discuss any rules and all openly with others. Why? Because the more you look, the more you talk about it to others, the more advice you will receive, the more confused you will get, the more you will face contradictions and all those things. So whatever flexibility that you have built around your niyamas, keep it to yourself, discuss it with the very close associates that you have, whom you trust, and whom you receive some guidance from, your Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus, or some close peers also can be included in that to, get feedback, get some guidance. Okay. And then another point, no need to increase the rules. Just follow the rules and regulations given by Srila Prabhupada and by your Gurujanas, and they will obviously give. The Gurujanas will not say that, oh, you have to, if they are proper Gurujanas in the proper situation, if they themselves are, proper Gurujanas, they will not give you some extra rules or anything like that. They will actually make it more flexible for you to, according to your swabhava, your nature. And whatever rules have been given by our seniors, by our acharyas and our close Gurujanas, just follow those rules. No need to invent your own. That in addition to Ekadashi, now I will do Somvar Vrat, Mangalvar Vrat, Saturday Vrat, Shanivar Vrat, this, that, and I will celebrate Gaur Purnima and I will celebrate this other thing and that other thing and 20 other things. Soon enough, you will realize all 365 days and all 7 days of the week are occupied. And then you say, oh my God, what did I get into? And then you leave everything. That will be the end result. So you're putting your legs in too many boats. So pick one process and follow. And then there could be some examples like Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Oh my God, he was so renounced. He would only eat this much every day, palm full of buttermilk. That too from the trash can. So that is great level of renunciation. And he was Pakka Vaishnava, Bhakti Yoga, not a Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But the point is, we should also see how he got there. He got there very gradually. First, he was in Grihastha ashram. Then he left that. He used to still take money from his father for his daily maintenance. Then later on, he, it gradually increased. Then he would eat one time a day. Then in that one time, he would only eat some prasad that was distributed in the temple. Then like that, that level. And then finally eating only a small palmful from the trash can is the last level. We cannot just imitate them and jump to that level. So the point is that we should not make those exceptional cases as the rule. Oh, he used to do that. Now every member of ISKCON society should eat from the trash can one palmful. That would be completely foolish. It would be very, very strong niyamāgrahah. All right. So we should not make such exceptions as the rule. We should progress gradually according to our capacity. And finally, in the age of Kali, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the process which completes the gaps, which fills the gaps in all other rules, or whatever rules we didn't follow. So one can, if one says, oh, you are not eating from the trash can. Well, are you chanting Hare Krishna? Yes. Then that gap, if you think that that gap exists, it is being filled. So we must have that faith, that trust on the holy name. And to chant Hare Krishna, there are no rules. In the Shikshashtakam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Niyamitaha smaranena kalaha. So there are no niyama to do smarana or to chant the names of Bhagavan. Okay, so there is a very nice example. that is, I came across, where there were some devotees in Australia, in Perth. So Perth is on the western side of Australia. On the eastern side, there are many big cities, Melbourne, Sydney, and so on. Perth is like, in the more or less in the middle of nowhere. And they have a temple there, and they, were exporting or sort of importing basmati rice from India at a great expense to offer to Krishna, because they heard that we must offer the best possible to Krishna. And the importing was costing them so much that the devotees were going hungry, because you cannot eat prasad, you cannot eat anything else but prasad. So the devotees were becoming weaker and weaker, because they were only importing little bit. It was so expensive to offer to Krishna, and that was prasad. And then they were just eating little bit, and they were becoming weak and weak and weak, and could not go and do Harinam Sankirtan outside, could not even do their own japa properly. Nothing was happening. So one time then they wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada wrote back very strongly, what are you guys doing? Stop that. Don't import the basmati rice from India. What rice you have available there? They said wild rice. I said, offer that to Krishna. You must offer enough so that you can eat enough, and you can do your sadhana, your bhakti strongly, nicely. You guys are doing niyamāgrahah. Even though in their mind they were trying to really do the best, which was fine, but at least, the good thing is they contacted the Guru, and the Guru, they gave them proper instructions. So all this is, so there are many, many such potential scenarios, but the most important thing is, whatever limb of bhakti that you have a taste for, strengthen that. Again, don't forget the main principle, which is never forget Krishna, always remember Krishna. All other rules can be bent around that those two primary rules. Okay. So that is niyamāgrahah. Then we will quickly go to jana-sangha. So jana-sangha is very, 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 very important. It is the jana-sangha. Now again, I have mentioned close association. Now no association is not possible. Then you have to either go and live in Vrindavan Dham, not in Portland, or you have to go and live in the forest. If you want zero association, because when we live here, we will have association, but we should not take close association. And more importantly, we should not what? Going by some previous discussion today, we should not, anybody can predict what we should not do?
Find fault.
No, not find fault.
Judge. Prajalpa.
Or find taste.
Rasa.
Association, find rasa. Association may be there, but you should not be trying to seek it out, trying to long for it, trying to desire it, hanker for it. If it is there, it's okay. It's unavoidable. And you do a good job. You don't show your disgust to the other people. That is definitely not being said here. That's not being said. Now, this is very, very important point, jana-sangha, and it will come again in the third verse. What is the third verse? Utsaha nischayat dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat, then sangatyagat. Sangatyagat sato vritte shadbhir bhakti prasiddhyati. So sangatyagat, you must do. These are the do's, because bhakti is being prasiddhyati, is being enhanced. So by avoiding sangha of materialists. Same thing is here. Avoiding jana-sangha. Why? Because it is such an important instruction. Rupa Goswami is mentioning it 2 times. Okay, like we tell our children, stay inside the house, don't go out. If, let's say, I used to tell when my children were not too old, like middle school or something, and we and my wife had to go out and do some grocery or something, children were alone at home. We used to tell them, stay inside the house, don't go out. Have you said that to your children? But isn't it the same thing? But that the point is, you are putting emphasis on that instruction. Stay inside, don't go out. So that's what is being said here, jana-sangha and sangha tyagat. So how important it is, that is being shown here. So jana-sangha, who should we avoid association with? What do you think? Let us do some little quick shout outs. Jana-sangha means what? Whose sangha should we avoid? Our Guru Maharaj sangha we should avoid? No.
Atheists.
Atheists, very nice. What else?
Non-devotees.
Non-devotees, okay, very nice. What else?
Indulging too much sense gratification.
No, whose association should we avoid? It has to characterize some kind of a person. What else? Mayavadis. What else? Mayavadi. And then Sai Prabhu says one against Krishna. Definitely that we can say against Krishna is either atheist or demoniac. Asurim bhavam. Very nice.
A person who always speaks about the others.
Who always what? Criticizes others?
He speaks about the others. Take rust in defaming and rather speaking about others. Always speaking about their characteristics and like that.
So criticizing others. What else?
Criticizing others.
Very nice point. All are very good points. Okay, so all these points are correct. So let me share. So do not associate, our acharyas and gurujanas say, do not associate with who? Materialistic people. We mentioned that. Materialistic people, sense gratifiers, impersonalists, voidists, atheists. I could have added one more, demons, asurim bhavam. Okay, all those kind of people. Also, one should not associate with opposite gender. Okay, except spouse, of course. And what it means, opposite gender. Okay, so one should not associate means what? Now, I'm doing Bhakti Shastri class and there are a lot of Matajis in the class. So should I now, what do you call, de-enroll all of them? Some association is needed. But the point is, loose association, inappropriate association, just frivolous joking in a solitary environment, all that, that's what it means. Otherwise, there will be some association with the opposite gender, but it need to be very, very within the proper boundaries. Then, so these are some of the points. The first point, many of you that you mentioned were in the first bullet: materialists, Mayavadis, atheists, demons, all that is fine. But there are some of these subtle categories also, which we are not very aware, or at least, I mean, you may be aware, but it's not front and center. It's not obvious. So with devotees, this is what we were discussing earlier, saying earlier, with devotees, but discussing worldly matters. Oh, cricket score. What is the cricket? Are you aware? This, whatever, maybe, whatever and especially take rasa in it. Okay, if India wins the World Cup, then you can all, say, oh, India won the world. And there's a major event. Okay, fine. I would like to know when India wins the World Cup or any World Cup final. I'm usually aware who are the teams, but it's not like, I'm looking out for it and everything. Or it is the central topic, always the central topic of discussion. That is when it becomes jana-sangha, even with devotees. Then with pretenders. Now, this is a tough one because we are not the judge. Who is the pretender? Who is the real? But still, the point being, maybe coming to the temple, maybe putting on all the, external things, doing correctly, but only for socialization, which kind of ties back to the previous point. Whenever they talk to you or you talk, the central point is not Krishna or Krishna Seva or Krishna Bhajan, but something materialistic. And with personalists who desire their personal happiness through moksha, that is also not okay from Gaudiya Vaishnava standpoint. Personal happiness we reject. Only thing that is accepted is Krishna Seva or Vaishnava Seva. So, not our personal happiness. Yes, Sarita Mataji, did you raise the hand or?
Sorry, Prabhu, by mistake.
Okay. Yes, Suri Prabhu, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, politicians and criminals.
Yes, yes, definitely. I would count them as materialistic people or demons.
Oh, thank you.
Criminals would be kind of like demons and whatever. Yeah, you get the point. Okay. So very, very important. We must evaluate. Now, some judgment is needed. Now there you do not, what is being told here, please try to understand a subtle point. Some judgment is needed. Okay, you can, by closely associating 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, you can know who to associate with, who not to associate with. Okay, prajalpa means what? Audible. Remember audible? But it doesn't mean that once you make a judgment, you go and advertise. Hey, you know what? I think about this person. Hey, you know what this person did? Hey, you know what I observed? I observed the X, Y, and Z. And that's why I'm not going to talk to him. That would be strictly prohibited, or it's not good. But it doesn't mean you keep your intelligence on the shelf. Okay, you are coming in the temple, putting tilak. Oh, yes, yes, you are pure devotee. So one must use their intelligence. And sometimes this sub-bullet is there. The other individual may be very nice. The other individual may be very nice. Definitely. At a absolute level, he may be really very nice devotee, but sometimes just the chemistry is not such that it is elevating for you. So then you don't associate, keep a distance with full respect, 100% in your even mind and heart, full respect from a distance. But the point is, do you feel elevated or do you not feel elevated in that association? If it is, you feel elevated in the association, associate. More importantly, if you don't feel elevated, if your consciousness is getting spoiled in that association, after talking for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, if you feel like, oh my God, or if you go in your own trip, something he shares or she shares about somebody else, you used to think nice about that person, but because of this person's some confidential sharing, now you think, oh, maybe that person is not so whatever, or maybe, so many things can occur. And if you don't feel your consciousness elevated, or if you see it spoiled, don't associate. Bhakti is really, and we are all, at least I am definitely a beginner, even though I have been in this for 20 plus years, I'm still a beginner. Bhakti is such a weak creeper. Bhakti Lata is so weak and so, kya kahenge usse? Fragile, or another word. Tender. Yes, that's the right word. Tender. That we have to protect it very, very carefully. We cannot allow it to be spoiled by any way. We must do our utmost to keep it, alive and well. So associate with pure devotees, and of course, it is very hard to find pure devotees or fixed devotees who are strongly on the path of bhakti, or at least those whom you feel elevated, in whose association you feel elevated. So associate with them. Some quiet time is also necessary. It's not just about always association. Sometimes quiet time is necessary for your personal sadhana, for associating with Krishna, for associating with Krishna Naam, Krishna Charit, Naam Charit Guna, associating with the Bhagavatam, and sometimes for your own introspection. Take a break and see where you are going in your own Krishna bhajan. Why so much stress on association? Because association is everything. We take up the qualities of those we associate with. And jana-sangha will be a big hurdle in our progress. It's one of the big things that kills or dries up our bhakti lata, our creeper. It is a big sucker to our bhakti. And do not underestimate this. This is the biggest one. Okay. On the contrary, good association of a genuine sadhu, bhajan will progress by leaps and bounds. It will progress so quickly, so fast in good association. Association is everything. It has so much power to make it go in the positive direction or in the negative direction. So therefore, we must choose our association very carefully. So by association of genuine sadhu. So how to find sadhu? How to find sadhu? So that is the next thing. How do you find a genuine sadhu? So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Śrī Rupa Gosvami gives, who should we associate with? So association is one of the limbs of bhakti. And there he mentions sajatiya shaye snigdhe sadhau sangha svatovare. So three things are being mentioned here. Sajatiya. Who is a sadhu that you should find? Sajatiya means similar in devotional mood. For example, this is just an example, having the same taste. So if you have a taste in bhajan, okay, everything is bhajan. So I take that back. Kirtan. So associate with somebody who is doing not just musical kirtan nicely, but who is doing kirtan with a lot of bhava, in the proper mood. So that would be sajatiya. So if one who is interested in kirtan and then he goes and associates with somebody who is very doing temple management very nicely, okay, or managing a big temple very nicely where most or all the devotees are very happy with the temple president. Very hard thing to accomplish. I haven't seen any temple president who everybody likes. Very hard service to do, right? But there may be somebody who does it very nicely, but a person who is doing kirtan goes and associates with such a person, it's like a mismatch. Both are doing very nice service in their own right, but it is not sajatiya, as one example, right? Other criteria can be there, like you go to opposite gender, or you go to a person, there's a big age or a generational difference, generation gap. Small, like youth kirtan person associating with somebody who is very interested in kirtan, but he's 70 years old, may not be a good, this one. So many factors, but sajatiya. Then snigdha, there should be some affection between each other, but mainly that person should have some, you are looking out for the sadhu, so you will be more accommodative. But you have to see, is that sadhu affectionate towards you? And the third one is svatovaraha, means that he is more advanced than you. So you have to see that you can learn something. Otherwise, why would you, you can take association, you can give association, they can be a peer, or they can be lower than you, in which case you can be kind and compassionate to them. But to get the association, you have to have something that you can learn from them. That means they have to be more advanced than you. You can learn new things or see new realizations in their association. But Another point is, I'm just going to the third bullet here. Don't be a sucker. Okay, not just give, take. What can I get? You get everything and then you kick them and then go look for the next higher person. That should never be the case. Be fully willing to serve them. So serve them fully. Find ways to do some seva for them. They will obviously say no, but you find some way to serve them. And if you find one, don't keep them hidden. There's another tendency, oh, I found such a great person, I will not tell anyone. Or, keep him secret. Never do that. Share them with others. And of course, they will manage. You may think, oh, if I tell his name to everyone, then he will be bombarded with too many questions or too many emails, too many WhatsApp messages. Let them handle, or you ask them. Okay, so like when I'm openly sharing about Hariparshad Prabhu, I asked him, Prabhuji, can I share? He said, no, don't share. But if you want, it's okay. I leave it to you. So he's being humble, but he gave me the permission and I am openly sharing. Like, where is the source of 90% of my information? And I'm pointing you, if you want in depth, where to go. So, don't keep them secret. Let them do the seva for the whole world. They have not taken birth only for your seva or to uplift you. They have taken birth to uplift everyone. And how to find sadhu? Have a burning desire to find one. Then Krishna will bring the sadhu to you. That is the first and foremost. Have a burning desire and pray to Krishna to send you such association if your desire is genuine. And don't have any expectations, like when, arranged marriage, you look at 500 biodatas and then you reject everyone. Couldn't even find one proper person. So don't be like that, like a checklist. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. Okay, so that is about jana-sangha, whose sangha to avoid and whose sangha to take. Then last one, laulyam. This we will cover quickly. So laulyam means greediness or fickleness of mind. Mind jumps from one to the other to the other. So both Srila Prabhupada as well as Hariparshad Prabhu have focused on spiritual path, fickleness in the spiritual path. And it's a very important point. Now you all are in Bhakti Yoga. You are sitting in Bhakti Shastri class. You all committed to Bhakti Yoga, but I have spoken to so many people who are, you tell them whole thing, they will read Bhagavad Gita for 6 months and this and that, and then they will go and, do some totally different process. I'm not blaming them or anything, but I'm just making the point. There are so many people who are checking it out, who are like, is this for me? So there are so many spiritual processes, and the fickleness in the area of spiritual path, choosing the spiritual path. That is the theme of fickleness. Of course, it applies to a lot of sense gratification fickleness also, but that we have talked about so much already. Vacho vegam, manasah vegam, krodha vegam, udara vegam, jivha vegam, udara vegam, pastime. All those, and plus we have been talking about all these things about sense gratification, material sense gratification. So Srila Prabhupada has focused the purport portion of the laulyam on the fickleness of choosing the spiritual path. Okay, so we'll focus on that angle. It doesn't mean that laulyam doesn't apply to material objects also. It does apply. Okay. So mind roams from one object to another, to another, to another. Every day it just keeps roaming. And there are so many spiritual paths. I could have made it into a bullet, but then the font was becoming really small. So many spiritual paths are there. We have discussed many of these: demigod worship, right? So many people demigod worship, impersonalism, meditation, voidism, new age spirituality, all these yoga studios, not just the yoga like doing the various yoga asana, but all these spirituality yoga studios as well. And get your energy from the universe, or some some whatever, power of now, be in the moment, the now, Eckhart Tolle, and I mean, nice things. There's nothing, but it's all new age spirituality. Obviously Krishna will not be there, even God may not be there. They will focus on universe, kind of what Lord Krishna calls as the universal form, considering universe to be the highest. New age spirituality, desire for mysticism, mystic powers, some siddhis. Oh my God, this is big time I have seen so many people in India. Oh, I have been doing this yoga and I could levitate. Levitate means like rise up in the air. Wow, that would be nice, rise up in the air or something like that. Or knowing, close your eyes and you can see like an X-ray vision. And sometimes, this is true, some people, do this. If some theft happens in the house, these days you have security cameras, then you could go to some of these yogis and they will close their eyes and they can see who broke into your house. Happened in the case of my wife, actually. Your mother, but it happened to my wife. I will tell, wait. So that person said that to my wife, she was a small girl, and isn't it? Oh, your mother was a small girl. Okay, yeah. Very young. And that yogi, so some theft happened in my wife's grandmother's house. So a lot of money or whatever valuables were stolen. So they were really interested in getting it back. So they said, do you have, that yogi knew you have a very young daughter. She said, yes, her grandmother said, bring her. So they brought her and he said, keep your eyes open. And in your eyes, I will see the video film, so to say. So that yogi saw into my mother-in-law's eyes. He was seeing, and he was just speaking what he was seeing. Okay, fine, whatever. Anyway. Yeah. So whatever in his eye, whatever, so and just saying, this person came, oh, he broke in, entered this, opened this door, then he jumped here. It was just like looking at the video recording of a security camera. And then they found out who was the thief. So that is pretty good, if you have that siddhi. So people are trying for all these kind of siddhis. Okay. Desire to become God, become one with God. Desire for moksha, for personal happiness, or even more simple ones, work is worship. That is my, spiritual progress. Work hard and I'm making spiritual progress. Yes, material progress is there, but all paths are equal. That is another one. Anything you do, they will all, so many, and you cannot remain fixed. So the point is, focus exclusively on Bhakti Yoga. There are so many verses in Bhagavad Gita, but of course, first you have to have your faith in Bhagavad Gita. That's why on the Bhagavad Gita classes, we have put that axiom. This class is a Bhagavad Gita class. If you challenge that is Bhagavad Gita itself correct or not, then I have no answer. That you have to resolve yourself. If you want to learn Bhagavad Gita, sit in the class. But I will not answer the question, is Bhagavad Gita correct itself? Why should I sit in the class? So that question cannot be answered. But as long as you take Bhagavad Gita as the basis, so many ananyas chintayanto mam. Ananya. So many places Lord Krishna talks about Ananya Bhakti. Mam ekam sharanam raja. Take only my shelter. Not here and there and there and there. Like some people buy double insurance. If one insurance claim is denied, I'll file it with the other company. So not like that. So focus and don't keep looking for too long. It's good to check it out. Blind faith is also not being asked, but need to commit to a spiritual process soon. Life is short. You also need time to practice it. It's not just about selection. You also need to practice it, which takes long time. So this fickleness of mind in terms of selecting or choosing the spiritual process is very harmful. And Bhakti Yoga is the best. No qualification. And I have just put verse numbers. The detailed class is very nice. You can hear it online from Hariparshad Prabhu, but the verse numbers are also given. You can check it out. No qualification. For other processes, qualifications are needed. For example, Jnana Yoga process, it seems, I am not an expert, it seems it starts after you take sannyas. Before sannyas is just preparation. It's like getting entrance into the college. You are preparing for your whatever entrance exam. But actual engineering happens when you enter the college, isn't it? Before that, it's all preparation. So sannyas is that process. You have to take sannyas, then your Jnana Yoga process begins. Okay. So for bhakti, there is no such qualification needed. No prerequisite. The only prerequisite, you have to be a human being. Even that is not going to be there, you will see. Plus, it is easiest to perform in all the ages and it produces maximum results. Even other species can benefit from it. How other species can benefit from bhakti? Can other species benefit from Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga? Can a dog benefit from Jnana Yoga? Can a dog benefit from Bhakti Yoga? How?
Loud chanting.
Loud chanting, very nice. And prasadam, yes, two very nice ways, isn't it? So you give prasadam to animals, insects, they all benefit. And it is the best process for all ages. This very famous verse in 12th canto, 3rd chapter, last verse. What does it say? Krato tad yad dhayate Vishnum. Can you pull that up? Tretanam yajato makhaihi dvaparya paricharyayam kalau tad hari kirtanat. So a very famous verse. Is that the one?
Yeah.
And all these processes, kritau means in the Satyoga, dhyayate Vishnum. It is to do dhyan of Vishnu. It is is it one of the 9 processes? Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Same thing, dhyayate Vishnum, Vishnu Smaran. That is bhakti, isn't it? Then, what is that? Next one. Tretayam yajato makhai, offering everything in the sacrifice. So that is Atmanivedanam, offering everything to the Lord. Then the third one is Dvaparyam, Paricharyayam, which means deity worship. That is Archanam. The 5th process, Archanam, correct? And then last one is Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanat. That is Hari Kirtan, which is the second one, Shravanam Kirtanam. So you can see in all the 4 ages, the processes recommended are different, but they are all in part of bhakti. It's not like in Satyuga, you cannot do bhakti. You do bhakti by smarana. Today you do bhakti by kirtana. So in all ages it can be performed, and in all situations it can be performed. All situations, it can be from the womb till your time of death. Prahlad Maharaj performed bhakti in the womb by hearing, when he was in his mother's Kayadu's womb, from Narad Muni, he heard Bhagavatam. Can he perform Jnana Yoga in the womb? Cannot perform. Demigod worship, is it possible to perform in the womb? No. Bhakti can be performed simply by hearing. Dhruva performed it as a young boy. Ambarish Maharaj performed it as an adult. Dhritarashtra performed in his last days after being kicked out by Vidurji. He had to pretty much like call him a dog and throw him out, or pretty much throw him out, or like motivate him to throw himself out. Ajamil, on his last breath, he chanted Narayana. In Swarga, Chitraketu Maharaj was performing bhakti, and in Patal Loka, Bali Maharaj was performing bhakti. So in all situations, whether you are in the womb or you are in the deathbed, whether you're in Swarga or Patal or Bhuloka, everywhere bhakti can be performed. It is so nice. Bhakti can be performed all the place. So that is about laulyam. Again, the main point being, check it out, but commit yourself soon enough and commit yourself fully. It is the best and easiest process. So that is the end. Sorry, we went a little over, but I wanted to finish the second verse today. All glories to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all my Guru Janas. Hare Krishna. Okay. Any questions?
In niyamāgrahah, Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, please.
In niyamāgrahah, you quoted BRS 128. So, is not that opposite to what you earlier gave the example? The law of doing 16 mala jap versus regular jap without mala. You're telling that a person is inconsistent.
Yes.
But he is doing regular jap. You told that a person is doing regular jap, but he's not performing 16 malas. So whereas in spirit of the law, his spirit is to jap regularly. Ananyas chintayanto, he is doing ananyas chintayanto, but due to some physical ailments or physical conditions with associations with the family or otherwise, he is not able to perform mala there. Then is not niyamāgrahah.
No, it is not niyamāgrahah if that is what you are doing. Now, let me separate out the aspect of within ISKCON getting Diksha or Bhakti Shastri requirement is to do 16 rounds. That is separate. That is if you want that, if you want Diksha within ISKCON, or if you want to get Bhakti Shastri degree, there are certain requirements. Okay, so you have to do 16 rounds. Again, we can talk about, I can have some relaxation as a Bhakti Shastri teacher, whether you are doing it on Japamala or you are doing it on a counter. But 16 round counted, some form of counting is needed. To take Diksha within ISKCON, you can talk to the spiritual master and see what he says, whether it need to be on Japamala, that to Tulsi or Neem or this or that, all those technicalities, but 16 rounds are needed. Anyway, that is to get those titles. Okay. Now, Diksha is very important, very, very important, but that is the rule. I don't think any spiritual master will bend the rule, but for seniors, like for my mother, she actually went and asked that question. And, sometimes, can I do it while lying down? Sometimes, if she has not taken shower because she's sick or whatever. And our Guru Maharaj told her, yes, no problem. You can do your japa even in the bed, even if you have not showered. All those relaxations were made depending on circumstances. So that is a discussion to be had. However, as far as if those are not the points, even if you are doing some japa, if you're doing it with good quality and you're doing it consistently, then that is a good progress from the standpoint of executing your Bhakti Yoga. Better than doing zero. So you are doing some consistent, following some consistent rules that you have taken a sankalpa of. The Bhakti Shastra does not give a number. The Shastra does not give a number that you have to do that many. The Shastra says, do consistently a appropriate number. Now, I am not Hariparshad Prabhu. If he was here, he would have opened up the verse and shown you. But I am 100% sure that there is a verse in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, I don't know which one, which says that do as consistently your number of japamalas that you have taken sankalpa of. So you have, that is between you and Krishna. You take sankalpa, I will do 4 japamala every day, and you do that consistently with good quality, not like a checkbox that I have to, today I give attendance in the class, done. Whether I listened carefully or not is not important. I attended the class. Then you are following the letter of the law, but missing the spirit. So the spirit of chanting is to chant high quality with full bhava, with full feeling, the japa. So did that answer your question? Or whatever your question
Yes.
was, did you get your answer?
Yes.
All right.
It's okay.
Okay. Yes.
Vivad, you did not mention what is the ranking of Vivad and what Vivad is. And in prajalpa, when we hear other people's, like let's say they are saying something which is negative, but we have to hear it somehow or other. But after hearing it, should we reply to them, or if we are not replying to it, will it cause disturbance in his sadhana? Like how should we deal with that?
So I'll forget the question. So let me pull out the Vivad portion.
Out of the 4 categories that you mentioned, samvad, vada, jalpa, vitanda, and vivad, you said that it is also there, but I think.
So Vivad. So vada is a honest and civil debate following proper rules of nyaya. So vada is second. First is samvada, which we talked. Next is vada, where it is a civil debate following proper rules of nyaya with the aim of finding and establishing the truth. So the aim is that you want to find the truth. Okay? Using tarka and pramana. So you provide proof and counterproof and all those things, and both sides consider each other as equal. In samvad, you approach as a student to somebody who is higher than you and more advanced than you, like Arjuna and Krishna. In this case, both are equal. There is openness to listen to the other party, but there is some attachment to one's own opinion. But there is full openness, and if the arguments from the other side are more strong, you will agree. It is based on truth. It is based on proper rules of nyaya. Whereas in Vivad is similar, so it is lower than Vada, but a little worse. One party considers the other as inferior. I know more. Okay, so that feeling is there, and does not fully listen to the other party. Is very convinced about your own opinion and trying to overlay your opinion on top of his other opinion. So there is less inclination to reflect on what the other person is saying, but still it is within the rules of nyaya. You would still be open to logic. If the logical argument is being made, you will not say lies. That is what happens in jalpa. Tricks, manipulation, lies are all fair game. Are you following? In jalpa. These are the differences. These are just my notes from the class that I gave this Sunday on 1:12:2.
The question was about the prajalpa. Does hearing other people something negative is also prajalpa?
Hearing.
Yeah, like if someone is saying something negative.
So if somebody is saying something negative, you should leave that situation. You should not hear it. Or again, the more worse thing is to hear it with rasa. Kya bol raha hai? Chalo sunte hain jara. Even if he's talking to somebody else, you are standing on the side, but your ears are there. You know, I know these two guys, whenever they talk, they will talk some juicy stuff. Let me go and find and do something near them. So you go and hear, you look out for it. that would be prajalpa. But if you are there and you have to do your seva, at least you try to do the opposite, which means you don't focus on it. Better still leave that situation, so that, don't trust your mind too much. Mind is a very, as you know, chanchalam, pramathi, balavad, dridham. Mind is all these things. So don't trust the mind too much to control, to be in your control. Mind will, like a monkey, it will jump, and you think it is in your control, and suddenly it will be out of control. So better to leave the situation. If that is completely not possible, as much as possible, don't listen. Keep your mind occupied in the other seva, and definitely don't take rasa in it. Yes.
In the same context, Prabhuji, in the same context, suppose you are in a group on social media. That is also very essential to know the day-to-day progress of your working area.
Okay.
So if anything a person is spreading about, say, Ish Ninda, he's doing Ish Ninda in the group. So is it not okay to counter him? Because it will become vivad.
Were you appointed as the sewer cleaner? Gutter cleaner. India में sewer को gutter बोलते हैं. Here in America, gutter means different thing. Have you been appointed as the gutter cleaner? Jamadar. Why you have to? All the dirt and all the bad stuff will come on you only. So don't, unless you are their guru or their authority, in which case, and they are proper students who will listen to the authority, like your child or your student or whoever is in your authority, then you can correct them, or you can, do whatever. But nobody has appointed you as the sewer cleaner. Don't try to be one, otherwise all the dirt will come on you only. Better to focus on your bhajan. And if you are really concerned, like we said, the other two caveats are there. If you have a personal nice chemistry with them in private, you can speak with the concerned person. And next level, if it is really something more serious, you can report it to their authorities. If that is something that is within that scope, if that person, let us say, is in the job, some material job, what is the point of reporting to his authority, his manager, his boss, that he is doing Isha Ninda? The manager also may not know about Isha. Okay, but if he has a spiritual guru, and let's say he is a devotee, so to say devotee within ISKCON, initiated, has a guru, and then he is doing Isha Ninda, then you can, tell the authority if there is such a relationship. But you don't take the sewage in your own hands.
Okay. So actually it happened, someone wrote very bad about Gita Shastra itself, and so I reciprocated. So I understood now.
How many times if you go look out, there will be people writing bad about Gita, billions and billions of tweets will be there or whatever. Read that class I gave on 9.3. I took some bad quotes about Gita from Amazon on Bhagavad Gita, how badly they are talking about Bhagavad Gita. Now I can, go and spend all the time trying to reply to all those Amazon reviews of saying this is the worst book or whatever. You want to waste your time on that? Be my guest.
Clear. It's clear now. Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't see there are any more questions, and we are very late. Sorry for the delay. And thank you for joining. Next week. Oh, okay. Yes, please. No, go ahead.
So probably you said Rupa Goswami didn't mention renunciation as one of the 64.
Didn't mention. It is not one of the 64. It's not like he. Yeah, it is not of one of the 64 limbs of bhakti. Mhm.
But that has to come naturally to fulfill the, one of the other 64, right? Renunciation is some of.
Yes, renunciation in the sense of sannyasa.
Sannyas is.
Yeah. But detachment from sense gratification, definitely it is there. Renunciation means sannyas is not. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Next week, hai na class? Okay. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. We will start with Usaha Nisyayat Dhairyat. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.